Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ryan Retro channel. These are my gaming handhelds and they all serve different purposes. The Steam Deck has completely replaced my gaming PC because this can play everything I used to play on it, but it's a little bit large. So the slightly smaller Odin 2 Portal is the latest device I'm testing out to see if it can fill many of the same criteria, but a little bit smaller and lighter. But being an Android device versus a computer, it's a little bit different. But there will be many videos of this coming next week, so look out for that. A little bit smaller again is the Retroid Pocket 5. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll be no stranger to this absolute beauty. This has been my main device for a long time now and will not be changing anytime soon. And after buying this, it's kind of made the next one a little bit redundant for me, which is my Nintendo Switch. And as you can see by the decorations on it, this has now become my girlfriend's gaming machine. I bought her the pastel pink Joy-Cons and these cute little Kirby thumbstick covers, and she's been having a blast playing Zelda on this. I recently made a video of this little Game Boy Advance clone, the Anbernic RG34XX. I really like this thing, and I specifically play Pokemon Ruby on it to relive the nostalgia of my childhood. But among all of the handhelds on this table today, the one that I'm actually gravitating to the most these days is this. This is the TrimUI Brick. And whenever I leave my home these days, whether it's going to work, going to a coffee shop, or going on a trip, this is the one that I take with me every time. Partially because it's so extremely light and portable, but also because it's very solidly made. The front feels like a nice plastic, the back seems to be a nice metal, and crucially, compared to something like the Retroid Pocket 5, this has a glass screen which can shatter. So you really need to take this in a case and be careful with it. But this is a device that you can just throw in your pocket. You don't need to worry about it, and you have tons of games available to you. So let's jump deeper into this device, let me tell you all about it, and tell you why it's becoming my favorite handheld to take wherever I go. So here is the TrimUI Brick in all of its glory. This was provided to me by Datafrog, and I will have a link in the description where you can buy one for yourself with my discount code. But don't get me wrong, they don't have any say over what I say in this video. I am not compelled in any way to even say this thing is good. I could say it's trash if I wanted to, but it's honestly incredible. So by pushing the power button to quickly boot it up, we can scroll through all of the different systems we have here, and as you can see, it is a lot. And if you look very closely at how many games this comes with, it is insane. Just flicking through the pages and quickly adding them up in my head, I already got to more than 7,000. And you'll find so many of these games are recognizable games from your childhood, if you're the same age as me. One thing it does come with, which I thought was quite funny, is it comes with those really crappy multi-cartridges. The ones that are like 400 games in one, the cool boy. Those are the kind of things I'm used to seeing on cheap handhelds like this, usually filled with fake games or bootleg copies of games, like the little Plumber Man, Barrio, or the little Prince Boy, Chain. But this is not like that. While it does have all of these cartridges for fun, it has some serious games in here. If we use the TrimUI menu button, we can easily quit out of any game, and let's jump into a system like Game Boy Advance, which is perfect for this. And as we scroll through the 900 games, you're most likely to be able to find absolutely anything you could be looking for. The only games I couldn't find here were Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh games, so I've added my own, which is really easy because all you need to do is pop out the SD card, find the relevant ROM folder, and just drag your ROMs in. It couldn't be easier. So you can scroll through and pick a game and just jump into it right away. On the back we have these added shoulder buttons, L1, L2, R1 and R2, and by default the two in the middle will fast forward the game. The right side one you need to hold it down and you'll see the fast forward icon, and when you let go you're back to real speed. And the left sided one is a toggle switch, so if you press it once it's now sped up, and if you press it again it's now back to real speed. So this makes playing these old games really nice and easy. So this is Mega Man 04. I didn't choose this by choice, I just pushed the button on the first thing I saw, so let's jump into this. And as we do, the first thing I should tell you is the screen on this is excellent. It's far better than I expected for the price. You can hold down the start button and then use these triggers to increase or decrease the brightness like this. It gets very bright and the viewing angles are really good. I'm going to make it as dark as possible just so it doesn't blow out the camera here. And speaking of the buttons, we have these two buttons in the middle that you can assign different functions, and also a switch up here which you can also assign a different function. If you have an iPhone like me, you might know they have a switch on the side which mutes and unmutes the phone, which I really like. So I've actually assigned the very same function to this switch. Right now it is muted, and if I switch it up, you can now hear the game. And if at any time I want to play in silence, maybe I get onto the bus or train, I just flick the switch and we're playing in silence. So I've never played this game before, I picked it completely randomly, but here we are playing with perfect performance and it looks so good on the screen. And you might think I'm being extremely complimentary and, oh, Ryan's just saying it's good because this video is sponsored. Let me just tell you right now, that is absolutely not the case. If this was rubbish, I would say outright, this thing sucks. Don't worry about that. But I think it's so good. And of all the handhelds I have, this is the one I can recommend the most because it's so easy. When you get something like the Retroid Pocket 5, this thing is incredible. If you've watched my channel, you'll know I am in love with this thing. But the thing is, when you get it, it doesn't come with any games. You have to set it up. So I would recommend this device to so many people. But if you have a friend who is just not tech savvy at all, they know nothing about emulation, they know nothing about downloading and installing games and all that kind of stuff, it's a little bit harder to recommend something like this because you also have to give them some tutorials, which obviously I have a lot of on my channel, so please recommend them my channel. But it's not really the thing I would recommend to someone like my girlfriend who knows nothing about this kind of thing. Whereas this can be used by literally anyone. Let me show you how easy it is. Let's say I want to now save my progress in the game. We only really have this one button, the menu button. Pressing that brings up the RetroArch menu, and we can just come down to Save, and we have 10 save slots. And if we just press the OK button again, our game's saved. That's it, we're done. Now we can press Exit Game, and we can go play another game. Now at any point, if you come back to the home screen and go to your recent games, here you will see all the games I've been playing recently. And if we just click back into Mega Man Zero, once it starts loading up, we again press that menu button, come down to Load, choose that save file we just made, and we're straight back into the action. Once again, we can quickly mute or unmute the sound. I set this button up to turn on and off the lights, and these are different colors depending on what you're playing. So the Game Boy Advance is set to purple. I'm not sure if you can customize this, but I quite like how it is so far. And this is also one of my favorite features of this device, because not only do we have lights here, and under the triggers here, but this is my favorite little touch that's so unnecessary but so great. They put a light up here, which is where the cartridge would be in the Game Boy Color. And the first time I saw this, when I picked up the device and was playing around with it, and I just peeked over the top and saw that light, I got all giddy like a kid again, thinking, oh, this is where I would put the cartridge in my Game Boy Color. It's such an insignificant detail, but such a nice touch. So I really like that. And then finally we have one more button, and to be honest, I didn't really know what to do with this one. So I set this to toggle the D-pad between digital and analog. And the reason I did that was because with this Anbernic GBA, I tried to play some Nintendo 64 games, and it didn't register the D-pad. It took so much Googling and searching Reddit to find out that you have to press the power button to cycle between analog stick and D-pad mode. So in order to avoid the same headache again, I've set this button to do the same thing. So if a game on the N64 isn't recognizing the D-pad, I just tap this button and it changes into an analog stick. So with that, everything is set up perfectly. Let me just quickly run you through the rest of the hardware now, and then we'll jump into what are my favorite features of this beautiful device. On the left side, you have standard volume down and volume up buttons. They're very clicky and feel very nice. On the bottom, you have a USB-C port for charging, a headphone jack, a reset switch, and your SD card slot, which we'll talk more about in a second. The phase buttons all feel excellent. These are some of the nicest buttons I've used on any handheld. The A, B, X, and Y, the D-pad, these two little macro buttons. Here is your start and select. Here are your two speakers, which also sound very nice. And then once again, this is the TrimUI menu button, which essentially just brings up the RetroArch menu here. And you'll see that because if you jump into advanced menu, this is just RetroArch, which should be familiar to a lot of you. Moving around to the back, we have another USB-C port. I think it might be for connecting two devices together like the old days. Sometimes I like to just turn the device over and feel the smooth back. That sounds ridiculous, but you might see what you mean if you get one for yourself. It's such a smooth feeling and just feels like a really nice quality material. And finally on the back we have these shoulder buttons, which are customizable, and we actually have 3 options out of the box. Right now I'm using the stock ones, because to me, these are the most comfortable. They have these little ridges that your fingers just nicely rest on. But let's see the other alternatives. I'll just bring the box up to you. You have some triangular ones and you have some really round, smooth ones. So I thought that I would really like the smooth ones because they look very comfy. But I actually found the original ones more comfortable because I found my fingers sliding off of the smooth ones. Whereas the little ridges on these ones are perfect for just resting your fingers in for prolonged gaming sessions. So feel free to experiment with which ones you like. I will be sticking with these ones. Also in the box you get a nice instruction manual, which actually explains everything you need to know, which I was quite surprised by, because I feel that these days most instruction manuals don't really tell you anything. It also includes how to start net play, which is one of the big features of this device, but one that I've not used yet. That's if you have 2 of the devices and the same ROM on both of them, and you can play together, like playing Pokemon together in the old days. So this is something I will look into more in the future, and a nice little feature. And probably the most important thing that comes in the box beside the device itself is this 64GB SD card. And this is loaded with those 7,000 plus games. So it means the first time you turn it on, all you have to do is choose what system you want to play. Let's say I want to play the Mega Drive, choose a game, and you are playing in seconds. You don't need to be tech savvy. You don't need to know everything about emulation. You can just open the box, take this out, and play thousands of really good games on a great screen, which is why I feel that this is the device I could recommend to the most people. The only thing you might need to know is where to get some ROMs if they don't have the ones you want. But with 7,000 plus ROMs on here, you will not be struggling to find games to play. And that is why I take this with me everywhere I go. Because if I bring something like the Odin 2 Portal, the only games I have here are the ones that I have gone through and picked out and installed myself. And of course that's a great thing because it means it has the library of games I want to play. But this now has games that I picked out and installed myself, and thousands of others I didn't even know existed, which to me is a really exciting proposition. And now let me take you through my favorite feature of this device. And that is this search box in the home screen. You can search here for pretty much any game from the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, the NES, the SNES, so many old systems, and there's a good chance it's on here. So I've been showing this to my friends and asking them, tell me a game from your childhood. I bet it's here. So one of them asked, does it have Scooby-Doo? So let's just search for Scooby, and it has 7 Scooby-Doo games. It has ones for the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Color, the Super Famicom. It's got pretty much any Scooby-Doo game you would want to play. And again, all we have to do is choose the game, and we are playing. We can skip the intro by holding the fast forward button. And just like that, we have nostalgia. Once again, if you want to save your progress, just quickly throw down a save file like this, exit out of the game, and go play another one. It is incredible. I absolutely adore this thing. Another friend asked me, does it have Earthworm Jim? So once again, we just searched for Earthworm, and yes, we have 13 versions of Earthworm Jim games. So this time, let's try the Super Famicom version of Earthworm Jim 1. And just like that, he was playing his childhood game and bringing back all those nostalgic memories. Ow! And for one more example, one more friend asked, does it have the old Robot Wars game? So we searched for Robot Wars, and it has 3 Robot Wars games, although this is something completely different. So really it has 2. And you can see the little star here means I added this to my favorites collection. So jumping into this Game Boy Advance game, quickly loading up a save file, fast forwarding the intro, and here we are inside Robot Wars. And once again, we are feeling nostalgia. Get him, get him. My weapon's useless. Well, this game is not as exciting as I remembered. And once again, you'll see we now have different colors because we're playing a different system. This also comes with some modern ports as well, not only the old systems. It actually comes with Balatro and Stardew Valley, as well as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, 2048, Celeste, Sonic Mania, and some Chinese games as well. I am a big fan of Balatro and Stardew Valley, and I put my blood, sweat, and tears in trying to get them on this Anbernic RG34XX, and I was successful in the end. But this comes with it straight out of the box, which is amazing. And while it doesn't perform very well because these are modern games, I'll just show you we can absolutely play them. The performance of Balatro is not too bad, but for me this screen is too small to be playing Balatro on. Once again, the screen quality is fantastic, but the cards are just too small on this screen. I can't find a way to change the resolution, but that would really help to make this more playable. Here is Stardew Valley inside what is essentially a Game Boy Color. This is blowing my mind. If you watched my video of the GBA, you'll know that I was absolutely blown away playing Stardew Valley on this, and this is blowing me away even more. And for anyone interested in comparing these two, I actually like this more than this. But this is still a very good device too. But this one is just crazy compact while also feeling really well made at the same time. I just have endless good things to say about this, and I just really hope nobody thinks I'm saying that because this video is sponsored. That is not the case at all. I truly love this thing. Here we are inside Stardew Valley, and as you can see, it is working. Once again, the performance is not really perfect. It's not super smooth. I would much rather play Stardew Valley on something else. It actually runs pretty perfectly on a phone, so I wouldn't really play it on here. But if this was the only gaming device you had with you, which for me is very often, and I really wanted to play some Stardew Valley, I can do that. We have a great screen, we have good speakers if I turn up the volume. They get very loud. Shh. So if you'd like to play some Stardew Valley on a Game Boy Color, that is now possible in 2025. What a time to be alive! And for anyone curious how these games are running, this is Portmaster, which are games ported over to Linux. So I could make this video 10 hours long. I could show you Celeste, Sonic Mania, I could run through 7,000 other games, but I am planning to make more videos of this soon, including one where I just go through the funniest and most rogue games that I found recently, including the Zoe 101 game, a game called Mr. Nuts, and this, and so many more. But for now, I just want to say this has blown me away with the build quality, what it comes with, and the overall experience for under $100. I've been taking this to the cafe with me when I edit my videos. I've been taking this to work to share the experience with my coworkers, who I think now all want to buy one. And I've been taking it on all of my travels for my Korean travel channel, playing it for hours at a time, which has made the bus journeys so much better. So if you too would like to pick up your own one of these, I have an affiliate link in the description where you can get 5% off an already cheap device. So check out my link in the description if you too would like to fuel your childhood nostalgia, or just pick up a very easy, simple device with thousands of games on it that requires no setup, no programming, and no knowledge whatsoever. You just take it out of the box, turn it on, and start playing games, which is really what I think these devices should be about. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Do check out the affiliate link in the description, and I'll see you again on Monday for a new video. Thank you for watching. Bye. Oh, and please subscribe.